Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cars and Kelley. Now the Miata is widely accepted as a pretty impractical car, and there's a lot of truth to that. But today I'm going to be showing some ways to make the most out of the cargo space and kind of live with it every day and make it more practical than it maybe seems. Now I'll just get this out of the way. By far the biggest help in increasing your practicality with your Miata is to either have no friends or have your friends drive separately. This passenger seat up here is your best friend when trying to maximize your practicality, and if there is someone here, you cannot do that. Trunk is the obvious place to start for any car in terms of practicality. This one is quite small though. It's, maybe a foot tall, 3 feet wide, but at the end it sort of tapers off, so it's not super good for large items at all, really. The only big thing I can really think of to improve your trunk space, which I'm not actually doing myself because it's sort of a give and take that I didn't want to do, but that's to take this carpet out and actually take the spare out. If you really want to gain some depth down here, you could probably gain 6 or so inches in the middle by taking that spare out. Again, didn't want to do that because I like having the comfort of having a spare tire there if I need it, but that is something you can do even like maybe one time if you're trying to carry something big. You can just take your spare out for that one trip. But speaking of down here, under this carpet you do have some space to store some essentials. I have my jack, of course, some WD-40, some duct tape, always keep my car duster, funnel, some rags, air compressor. There's little nooks and crannies here and there you can store stuff without really taking too much away from your main space, because you don't want to let the fact that it's a small car take away from the safety items that you should really have in any car. Now moving on from the trunk, the rest of your storage space is going to be in here. Of course, I'm not sure if this is present on all Miatas or just some years, but there's this little pouch, this sort of flap back here. You could put something small in there if you wanted to keep maps or papers. Big space I use all the time in this car is behind the seats. Back here behind the passenger seat I have like a windshield guard for the sun. I have an umbrella that I put down there when it rains, and then back here I have my bag of essentials, sort of like jumper cables and a few wrenches and stuff. If you don't have the seat back all the way, that is, the seat needs to be back all the way. If you're taller, then you might lose that space back there, but for shorter drivers like myself, you do have some space back there to store some tools and whatnot. You've got the armrest cubby in between the seats, the stupid infamous cup holders. I usually just use this space to store like sunglasses, cables, Tic Tacs. Stage space, perhaps the most underrated space in here, I think, is right here behind the seats. Like the trunk, it's not going to fit anything really big, but backpacks, bags, anything that sort of folds around or that's flexible, it's a great space. You can actually put a lot of stuff back here. Side note, obviously if you have a roll bar, this space is not going to be viable anymore. I'm thinking about getting a roll bar fairly soon and sort of considering that downside of losing this space. I think if you're considering tracking your car, putting a roll bar in here, you're not really going to care that much about losing the space, but just something to consider. Now, I'm actually a musician. I play guitar in a band, and so I often have to carry around some decently sized gear, guitar, amplifier, and stuff. And I pretty much manage to do it all in this car. Sometimes I have to borrow a larger car, but for the most part, I can fit it all in here. So I'm going to use that fact to demonstrate this car's practicality a little bit. So I have here a guitar case, hard shell case. Nothing fancy, nothing too big and beefy, which is one of the reasons it sort of works. If you have a really nice sort of bigger case, it might not work, but for the purpose of this, this works perfectly. So it fits right here, probably not too much of a surprise there. I can actually sometimes raise this up and even get like an amp in there or something, bigger speaker, if I need to. But what was more surprising to me was the fact that I can actually fit it back here. Again, not a universal demonstration, but sort of surprising you can fit a full guitar in a hard shell case behind the seats in a Miata. Depending on how hard pressed you are for height in terms of stacking stuff like on the passenger floor or on the seat, you could even take the top down if you need just like a few more inches of clearance. In the back, again, a small trunk, but this guitar fits easily. I could even put maybe another one on top of it or a big board or something, and more stuff up here in the front seat. I'll stop using the guitar as a demonstration now, but you probably get the idea. For my use and for probably many others, this car is just fine most of the time. It's by no means saying it's a substitute for having, a larger car with true cargo space, but I just wanted to show you guys a few ways that you can maximize the space in this car if you really need to. If you're about to buy a Miata or just bought one or sort of worried about space. Have faith it's a little better than you think it might be. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little video. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.